thinking to use a phrase of Swamiji to begin, and that is what is written on your. Those who didn't receive it, you can ask for it. I had two ideals of my life. First, to find God, and then to help others to find God. And that was what Swami Kriyananda was. And that's what we want to celebrate today, his life. I remember the first time I met Swamiji. He was just doing that. That was in San Francisco in California, and he was doing a Sunday service in a church in this big city. And I had already met Yogananda Ji through the autobiography of a yogi, and it had touched me very deeply in my heart and soul. And I have to say, in Swamiji, in that moment, the perfect channel, manifested channel of this same inspiration for my heart and for my soul. Swamiji, as you have seen yesterday, and a few of the pictures at the beginning, he had long hair, a long beard, and his orange robes as a Swami. At the end, I understood that he was for 1 week in San Francisco. He gave different lessons and satsangs, and there was one evening where I could come. And arrived that evening always in San Francisco, and I searched. And I searched for Swami Kriyananda, and I couldn't see him. And then when he came in front of everyone, then I understood why I didn't see him. Because one couldn't see the long hair and the orange robe. He had a dress, a normal dress on, a more Western style. And the hairs were all nicely put together with a little parrot. But that what he gave was immediately recognizable, because it was always an open channel for what the teachings of Yogananda Ji are, and all his life he did that. I would like to share a small part. The message for me, Swamiji, you cannot put in, which has thousands of faces. Swamiji, yes, he had his part, the techniques, the base, the techniques of Yogananda Ji, what this great master has given, and which helped to bring everything out. But more than everything, he was flowing with more than everything, that it was the will of Master in every moment. And one time, it was something very unexpected. You can read in his books, and he tells a few of these moments. But I don't want to take too much time this morning. I want to give a welcome and to give one example which for me had a very strong impact and example of what Swami Kriyananda was. At the end of his life, he had challenges with his health. And one afternoon we came to Swamiji's house. He just fell and had hit his head. And he was there in front of his breakfast and he couldn't eat. And he asked an Anand to make a orange juice. In that moment, Swamiji is sitting, and I was about to say, Swamiji, why? Why Divine Mother allows it that you have to suffer in that way? As soon as I said that, he immediately said, stop, don't say that. This body belongs to the Divine Mother, and she can do with this body whatever she wants to do. And that is the life of Swamiji. That his love for Master, and that what was the will, Master's will and Divine Mother's will, that was what he always tried to do and to follow. And now we have a great blessing to hear from Shusha and Narayani, because they spent more time at the end of Swamiji's life directly with him. And there we will hear how was Swamiji in his last period of his life. First Shusha that he comes to share about Swamiji's life. That's now in English.
Ma se fai tu meglio.
Grazie. Good morning, everyone.
Buongiorno a tutti.
Blessed Moksha Day to all of us.
E un benedetto moksha, giornata del moksha a tutti noi.
There is a theory, a conspiracy theory perhaps you've heard about,
C'è una teoria di quelle delle cospirazioni che forse avete tutti sentito,
that Christ didn't die on the cross. Instead, he lived, he went and, he eventually died in India. And there's a grave in Srinagar that marks apparently his grave.
e questa teoria dice che Gesù non è morto sulla croce ma è sopravvissuto e poi è andato in India ed è morto in India e ci sarebbe anche la sua tomba a Srinagar.
I can't speak to the validity of this theory. It's not what our guru told us.
Io non posso dire se questo sia vero o meno, non è quello che ci ha detto il nostro guru,
But I have my own conspiracy theory.
ma ho la mia teoria della cospirazione
And I'm hoping all of you will support it so it gains traction.
e spero che tutti voi la sosterrete, così acquisterà potere e magnetismo.
And my theory is that Swami Kriyananda didn't die on 21st April 2013.
La mia teoria è che Swami Kriyananda non è morto il 21 aprile del 2013,
And that he lives and he is well.
ma che lui è ancora vivo e sta bene.
And I don't say this because it's a beautiful, just lovely, romantic sounding idea.
E non lo dico perché è un'idea bella e che suona così romantica.
In the words of Saint Anthony of the Desert, I have seen him.
E come ha detto Sant'Antonio del Deserto, io l'ho visto,
I have felt him.
l'ho sentito.
And I know many others around the world have felt the same and suspect perhaps the same.
E so che tante persone intorno al mondo hanno avuto la stessa esperienza e hanno lo stesso sospetto.
When we were with Swami, Narayani and when I got the opportunity to be with him,
Quando Narayani e io siamo stati con Swami, io ho avuto questa opportunità di stare con lui.
in fact, anybody who was around him a little long enough would realize
E in effetti chiunque sia stato con lui sufficientemente a lungo ha compreso la stessa cosa.
that Swami lived his life in a singular manner, guided by two principles.
Che Swami ha vissuto la sua vita in un unico modo, sempre guidato da due unici principi.
And they're pretty much what Kirtani ji just mentioned.
E più o meno quello che ha già menzionato Kirtani.
But a little more refined for me would be Swami was guided by how can I attune better to my guru?
E io lo direi così: come posso sintonizzarmi meglio con il mio guru
And how can I share my guru better with others?
e come posso condividere meglio il mio guru con gli altri.
And he did this every moment of his life.
E lui ha fatto questo in ogni istante della sua vita.
When he was eating,
Quando mangiava,
he wasn't thinking about the food and the hunger and the need to sustain the body.
lui non pensava al cibo, alla fame, al bisogno di sostenere il corpo,
The only thoughts in his mind were, how can I attune better to my guru?
ma l'unico pensiero nella sua mente era: come posso sintonizzarmi meglio con il mio guru
And how can I share him better?
e come posso condividerlo meglio.
Our lives are such that we have so many thoughts at so many given moments. When we're hungry, we're thoughts of hunger. When we're tired, we have thoughts of rest.
E la nostra vita è fatta in modo tale che abbiamo sempre tantissimi pensieri nella mente in ogni momento. Quando abbiamo fame pensiamo al cibo, quando siamo stanchi pensiamo a riposare.
And then we wonder why we don't have the same power Swamiji had in our lives.
E per questo non abbiamo lo stesso potere che Swami aveva nella sua vita.
And when Narayani and I had this year of seclusion and Narayani was writing her book,
E quando Narayani e io abbiamo avuto questo anno di seclusion, di ritiro, mentre Narayani scriveva il suo libro,
I was helping her edit it once she was done writing.
una volta che lei ha finito di scriverlo, io l'ho aiutata con la revisione.
And while we were editing the book, while we were going through it, trying to make it what we hoped Swami would want it to be,
E mentre l'aiutavo a rileggerlo e a cercare di trasformarlo insieme in quello che speriamo fosse quello che Swami avrebbe voluto,
we too had to be guided by two primary principles:
anche noi abbiamo dovuto farci guidare da due principi fondamentali.
how to attune better to Swami Kriyananda,
Come possiamo sintonizzarci meglio con Swami
and how
Kriyananda
to share him through that attunement, through this book.
e come possiamo condividerlo attraverso questa sintonia, attraverso questo libro.
And when those two thoughts became the only thoughts by which we lived our daily life,
E quando quei due pensieri sono diventati l'unico principio con il quale noi viviamo la nostra vita quotidiana,
those month and a half,
quel mese e mezzo,
we tired.
perché non eravamo né affamati né stanchi.
And when we got into that flow,
E quando siamo entrati in quel flusso,
it felt like we're living with Swami again,
sembrava veramente di stare vivendo di nuovo con Swami,
because that's where he lives,
perché è lì che lui vive,
in those two thoughts.
in quei due pensieri.
How can I attune better to our guru?
Come posso sintonizzarmi meglio con il guru
How can I share him better with others?
e come posso condividerlo meglio con
And
gli
if each
altri.
of us live our lives in those two thoughts,
E se ognuno di noi vivrà la sua vita in questi due pensieri,
we're living with Swamiji.
allora stiamo vivendo con Swami.
Sometimes we're in the middle of the book and it would be almost like Swami's about to just come out of one of the rooms. It was so tangible.
E stavamo lì a lavorare al libro ed era come se Swami potesse uscire da un momento all'altro da una delle stanze, era così tangibile.
So I just want to give you the address to where you can find him now.
Quindi voglio darvi l'indirizzo dove potete trovarlo adesso.
It's house number 1, each of us.
È casa numero 1 in ognuno di noi.
Street 108 of Perfect Attunement.
La strada è il numero 108 della perfetta sintonia
And the city of everywhere.
e la città è ovunque.
I also want to share with you just what those last months of Swami's life were like, just to give you a feeling to better understand the day he changed his clothes.
Voglio anche raccontarvi un po' come sono stati gli ultimi mesi della sua vita e anche darvi un po' proprio la sensazione di come è stata quella giornata in cui lui ha cambiato abito.
By which I mean left this particular cloth that he was wearing, as Yogananda would say, the heavy, old, heavy jacket.
E quello che intendo è, come diceva Yogananda, quando lasciamo il corpo, come lasciare un vecchio cappotto, una vecchia giacca pesante.
The word that comes to my mind when I have to describe those last months of his life
E le parole che mi vengono in mente quando cerco di descrivere quegli ultimi mesi della sua vita
is from this word is used often in the Bible, must needs.
Ma?
Like, I must needs do this.
Ah sì, sono
Those
parole
were-
che ricorrono spesso nella Bibbia, cioè si deve,
I don't know if there's an exact translation into Italian, but essentially a sense of urgency.
in poche parole è un senso di urgenza, cioè bisogna farlo, deve essere fatto.
It started with my coming into Swami's life. Swami asked Narayani and I to get married practically from not knowing what Narayani and Swami.
Narayani e Swami erano in America
And he said, when we land in India, the two of you should get married. Must needs be married.
e lui ha detto quando atterriamo in India è doveroso, si deve proprio che voi vi sposiate.
So, at that time we didn't understand it, but 7 months later, it became very clear to us that need, that urgency.
E all'epoca non era molto chiaro, ma 7 mesi dopo è diventato chiaro il perché ci fosse questa urgenza.
The other urgency was for Swami. He was, at that time, extremely tired, extremely fragile, his body.
E l'altra urgenza era per Swami il fatto che il suo corpo era estremamente stanco, estremamente fragile.
But nonetheless, he traveled to every major city in India.
Ma nonostante ciò, lui viaggiava e ha viaggiato in quei mesi in tutte le più importanti città dell'India.
Delhi, Mumbai, Pune, Chennai, Bangalore, Calcutta.
Tutte queste.
And it was as if he knew his presence was needed. He needed to seed Master's vibration into these cities, perhaps before he left.
Perché lui sentiva e sapeva che doveva far sentire alle persone la presenza del Maestro in tutti questi luoghi prima di andarsene.
And there was that urgency, he had to do it, even when his body wouldn't allow him to.
E c'era questa urgenza, lui doveva farlo, anche se il suo corpo non glielo consentiva.
There was an urgency from the side of the Indian population as well,
C'era anche un'urgenza da parte della popolazione indiana,
because thousands came to hear him.
perché a migliaia vennero ad ascoltarlo.
Never before had he drawn such crowds.
E mai prima di allora aveva attratto delle folle così grandi.
But in Chennai, we had 2,500 people.
Ma a Chennai abbiamo avuto 2500
In
persone,
Bangalore, another 1,000.
a Bangalore un altro migliaio.
And there was this moment after Swami finished his talk in Bangalore,
E c'è stato questo momento dopo che Swami aveva finito il discorso a Bangalore
and we came out of the back door,
e siamo usciti dalla porta sul retro
and all the audience knew he's going to sneak out that way. They all came out back.
e tutti i partecipanti avevano capito che lui sarebbe uscito dal retro e quindi erano arrivati tutti lì dietro.
And they were just bouncing on Swami. They wanted to touch him. They wanted to fall at his feet.
E tutti si accalcavano attorno a Swami, volevano toccarlo, volevano prostrarsi ai suoi piedi.
Narayani and I were on each side of him.
E Narayani e io lo sostenevamo da entrambe le braccia.
And people were just pushing us aside, trying to, get there next to him.
E le persone cercavano di tirarci, di strapparci via per mettersi al nostro posto.
And there was no way we could get to our car.
E non c'era modo di arrivare alla nostra auto.
So the first car that was leaving, we just stopped it and we pushed Swami into that car. And
Quindi abbiamo fermato la prima auto che stava passando, abbiamo spinto dentro Swami.
after we put him in, we said, can you please drop us off somewhere?
E dopo che l'abbiamo fatto salire, abbiamo chiesto alla persona che guidava, potresti accompagnarci?
So you could see that wherever he went, people were drawn to him instantly.
E si vedeva proprio che ovunque lui andasse le persone attiravano, proprio attingevano qualcosa da lui.
Another very urgent moment that we felt before Swami left
E un altro momento di grande urgenza che abbiamo sentito prima che Swami se ne andasse
was suddenly out of the blue one day at the Pune community.
è stato un giorno così, all'improvviso, nella comunità di Pune.
I get a phone call saying, there's a Swami
Ho ricevuto una telefonata che diceva c'è un certo Swami
who's come here to see Swami Kriyananda.
che è venuto qui per incontrare Swami Kriyananda.
We had never heard of him, we didn't know who he was.
E noi non avevamo mai sentito parlare di questo Swami, non sapevamo chi fosse.
And Swami Kriyananda was taking his afternoon nap.
E Swami Kriyananda stava facendo il pisolino pomeridiano.
So Narayani wasn't sure what to do, but she felt, okay, let him know that somebody's here to see him.
E Narayani non era sicura di cosa fosse giusto fare, però ha detto, guarda, gli dico che c'è questo Swami.
And Swami instantly got up and said, yes, have him come over, let's have tea together.
E Swamiji immediatamente si è alzato dal letto e ha detto, sì, fallo venire, prenderemo il tè insieme.
And, they sat for half an hour, they had tea, the Swami only spoke Hindi, Swami only English.
E quindi sono stati lì un po' di tempo, hanno preso il tè insieme, questo Swami parlava solo Hindi, Swami Kriyananda parlava in inglese.
So it wasn't like they were particularly conversing, but you could see something was going on between their eyes.
Quindi non era una conversazione particolarmente elaborata, però si vedeva che qualcosa a livello di comunicazione c'era tra i loro occhi.
And then this Swami, he had come with one of his disciples and he left in half an hour.
E poi lo Swami, dopo mezz'ora, se ne andò con la discepola con cui era venuto.
It's only one Swami passed and Narayani and I went back to India.
E è stato solo dopo il trapasso di Swamiji, quando Narayani e io siamo tornati in India,
This disciple called us.
che questo discepolo ci ha chiamati.
And she said, can I come over? I have a message for you from her Swami.
E ha detto, posso venirvi a trovare, ho un messaggio per voi dal mio Swami.
And she came and she told us that this particular Swami, he lives in the jungles in India.
E ci ha raccontato che questo Swami vive nelle giungle nell'India
Never really comes out to meet people.
e non esce praticamente mai per incontrare la gente.
But he suddenly called her and said, we have to go see Swami Kriyananda right now.
Ma un bel giorno lui aveva chiamato questa discepola e le aveva detto dobbiamo andare immediatamente a incontrare Swami Kriyananda.
And he told her
E le ha detto
that Swamiji will be leaving his body soon
che Swamiji avrebbe lasciato il corpo di lì a poco
and that we must take his darshan.
e che quindi loro dovevano andare a incontrarlo e a prendere proprio il darshan, la benedizione.
And so you could see others knowing, tuning into this reality.
E quindi si poteva vedere che c'erano altri che si stavano sintonizzando con questa realtà.
And of course, Swami was still writing books.
E ovviamente Swamiji stava ancora scrivendo libri.
Finding Happiness movie had just finished. He was writing the script for The Answer, writing the script for Yogananda film.
Aveva appena finito il film Finding Happiness, stava scrivendo la sceneggiatura per The Answer e anche per un film su Yogananda.
He wrote 52 new lessons for the Kriya and online lessons to take Kriya.
Aveva scritto 52 nuove lezioni online per chi prende il Kriya.
And this is all in 6 months.
E tutto questo solo in 6 mesi.
And on top of that, he took a vacation and had periods to rest.
E anche in tutto questo aveva trovato tempo per fare una vacanza, per
I
riposare.
don't know how he did it.
E non so come faceva a fare tutto.
But when we were here in Italy,
Ma quando eravamo qui in Italia,
I'd like to end with this particular story.
e vorrei concludere con questa storia,
Swami once, perhaps I've shared it before, I'm not sure.
e forse è una storia che ho già raccontato, non lo so, non mi ricordo.
Swami gifted me this watch that I'm wearing. It was his.
Swamiji mi ha regalato questo orologio che ho al polso, che era suo.
It was an old watch, so it wasn't working.
Era un orologio molto vecchio, non funzionava.
So he said, let's go down to Santa Maria and get you a battery and get the watch going.
E quindi Swami ha detto, dai, andiamo giù a Santa Maria, e compriamo una batteria e facciamo funzionare l'orologio.
And so we got there, we got the battery, put the watch on, I started. So Swami said, my watch says 4:15, so set your watch accordingly.
E poi abbiamo messo la batteria, l'orologio ha ripreso a funzionare e Swami ha detto, guarda, il mio orologio fa le 4:15, metti il tuo sulla stessa ora.
So I set it, I put it in, plugged it in.
E quindi ho fatto così.
The next day Swami asks me, Shurjo, what's the time?
E il giorno dopo Swamiji mi ha chiesto, Shurjo, che ore sono?
I said, sir, 3:20.
Signore, sono le 3:20.
And he says, mine says 3:21. Change your time.
E lui ha detto, il mio orologio fa le 3:21, cambia il tuo.
So okay,
E
changed
quindi
it.
ok, l'ho cambiato.
Next day he asked me again, Shurjo, what's the time?
E il giorno seguente mi ha chiesto di nuovo, Shurjo, che ore sono?
I said, sir, it's 12:17.
E ho detto, è mezzogiorno, è 17.
He said, how many seconds?
E lui mi ha chiesto, ma quanti secondi?
I said, 32, 33, 34.
Ha detto 32, 33, 34.
And Swami says, no, mine says 15, 16, 17.
E lui ha detto no, il mio dice 15, 16, 17.
He says, change your time.
Cambia il tuo orologio.
So I take my thing out, wait for he's telling me, okay, now.
E quindi ho estratto il cosino lì dell'orologio, ho aspettato che lui mi dicesse sì, questa è l'ora giusta e l'ho rimesso.
But I also realized that it had nothing to do with the time.
Ma mi sono reso conto che tutto questo non aveva niente a che fare con l'ora.
And it was more like, Shurjo, where are you? Where's your attunement?
Era più che altro, Surjo, dove sei? Dov'è la tua sintonia?
And most of us say, I'm close, I think of the guru every now and then.
E io pensavo, beh, sono abbastanza vicino, penso al guru ogni tanto.
I'm only a minute off.
Sono solo un minuto fuori sintonia, fuori
I'm only a
sincronia.
few seconds off.
Sono solo qualche secondo fuori sincronia.
But for Swami, that wasn't enough.
Ma per Swami questo non era abbastanza.
And if we want to be in attunement,
E se noi vogliamo essere in sintonia,
it can't be enough for us either.
non può essere sufficiente neanche per noi,
Because every second counts.
perché ogni secondo conta.
Every second we are off
Ogni secondo che siamo un po' fuori,
is maybe a lifetime gone.
forse è un'intera vita andata.
And those 6 months of Swami's life, which was this sense of urgency,
E in quegli ultimi mesi della vita di Swami c'era questo senso di urgenza.
I think we need to develop that sense of urgency as well.
E credo che anche noi dobbiamo sviluppare quel senso di urgenza,
Because there's no time to waste.
perché non c'è tempo da perdere.
There's no time to say, today I'm not in it, today I'm not thinking that much, today I'm not doing that much, that's all right.
E non c'è il tempo per dire, ma oggi non penso tanto, oggi non faccio tanto.
Swami didn't waste even a moment.
Swamiji non ha sprecato neppure un momento.
And I think if there's one thing we can offer him,
E penso che questo sia ciò che gli possiamo offrire.
is to say, okay, we won't waste our life as well.
Dirgli, ok, neppure noi vogliamo sprecare la nostra vita.
Tell me at what second you are,
Dimmi a che secondo sei tu.
and I'll change my watch.
E io cambierò il mio orologio.
Many blessings.
Last time, adesso parlo in italiano. L'ultima volta
Last time
che ho fatto un discorso
that I
pubblico qui,
talked a public talk here, it was 5 years ago for the funeral of Swami Kriyananda, and today I find myself again here to talk about him. But it is more to talk about his resurrection instead of his funeral. I want to focalize my talk how it was to be with Swamiji, how it was for him on a more personal level when that moment came to leave his body. I don't know if you know that many astrologers and lectures said that there is a blessing, Master's blessing, where they would give him 5 years more for his word to leave his body, that they had given him 5 more years. And so for many of us, we were thinking, would be with us a little bit longer. And so that was in our mind. When we were in India the last time, he did an astrological reading, and that bandit told Swamiji, now you are entering in a phase of your life where you will be much more withdrawn. where you will do much less of your public talks, and you will be longer periods of times in silence, more withdrawn. When we finished his reading, Swamiji said, also I can feel the change within me. I think there's something what Master wants of me, and we left it. We continued on to travel, and so we didn't give a lot of importance to this thought. But before coming to Italy, Swamiji had again, maybe I have to find a place when we come back where I can withdraw and to be more in seclusion. And so we found a place, a house, and we were thinking, when we come back to India, we will be here in Italy first for 2 months, going to America for 3 months, and then to go back to India. And there Swamiji would start his seclusion. It was only when we came here to Italy where I understood a little bit what was happening with his discipleship and with his attunement with Master. When we came here to Italy, Swamiji finally, he could relax so much. He didn't have so many responsibilities. He had time to relax. And he opened his heart completely. And he began to ask Master, what is happening? What is happening with my energy? Why do I feel myself in a place where I can be more withdrawn? Swamiji had a little bit this kind of thoughts, and that touched my heart. That is what Master wants of me. And Swamiji told me, there's one thing which I cannot understand yet. But when I go in seclusion, how will I do? How will I do to share with others? How will I do to share Master? How can I do that? He had this kind of thoughts. The last months of his life, and he saw that he nearly immediately could go within. He spoke very little. Most of the time he was in silence. It was not only an exterior silence. One could feel that he was in constant connection, communion with Master. Most of the time in meditation, for me that was very, very surprising. Sometimes I went to look, 1 hour, nothing. I was a little bit worried about him. I want to see how he's doing, if he's feeling well. And I went up. He was sitting there meditating with a blissful smile on his face. It was 1 o'clock, and very often I found him like that. There was a change of awareness, a transformation, which Swamiji was having here in this place. Sometimes Swamiji said, I have the feeling that I'm comparison that I'm not anymore. I don't know where Kriyananda finishes and where Yogananda begins. There were these changes, this change of consciousness, which was happening very fast. The last week, and we were here, Shivani, and Shivani asked Swamiji, we finished the film Finding Happiness. And if you would like to, we could see that movie together. And so a small group of us, we went to his house and we saw this movie together. I don't know if you listened, the people who had experiences after their death. It is like a movie. It's a movie of your life. All these images and all these different steps of your life, what you have experienced, and all that comes out. Seeing that movie with Swamiji, that was like to see all the images of all his life, from the beginning to the end, to see all that what he had done. When the film finished, there was a complete stillness. It was incredible. No one was able to speak because we all understood that Swamiji saw with his eyes the work of his life, of 60 years of discipleship. Swamiji broke the silence with tears in his eyes, and he said, now I know that my mission is finished. I know that my master is so happy for that what happened. And Swamiji said that not only of the communities he had created, but the souls, the people who live in these communities, who live there only to find God. And Swamiji, with his eyes, to see people who live like that, who he felt in his heart, we have done it. Right after that, 1 or 2 days later, Swamiji was so interiorized. And one morning I went there, he was meditating. He said, sit down and meditate. There was an energy, incredible energy in his room. After a little while he said, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to go to the astral plane. Better is still to find final liberation, to go to moksha. Immediately afterwards, 1 week later, Swamiji left his body. After that, and that for when Swamiji left his body, for me it was very hard. It was very difficult to understand what shall I do, where should I go. It was really, what shall I do? And it was 5 years, a lot of challenges, a lot of lessons I had to learn. When I think of that, and then I think of Swamiji's leaving. If Swamiji would have left his body 5 years later, he now would have to start to start a spiritual process which I started 5 years ago. So for me, at the death of Swamiji was an incredible sacrifice. A sacrifice which he did for all of us, because he, leaving the body, he accelerated a process of transformation in each one of us, which each one of us were ready to do. He always said, be ready. For me, his death was the greatest act of love which he did for us. I finish with that story. Swamiji, when he was small, he said, one of the great things which gave a lot of joy to him was to help other children, to teach them how to go with the bicycle. So Swamiji had his bicycle, and all his little friends had also. They were tiny, tiny children. And they tried, now come here, sit on the bicycle. I will hold the seat, and then with the other hand I hold, and you simply move, and I go with you. And so Swamiji helped the little children to learn how to go with the bicycle. And he said, okay, now you can go. Swamiji, his way of helping, when a child was a little bit more confident in itself, he left the front part, but one hand was always holding the seat. And so when Swamiji saw that the child was still more confident, he was not holding anymore the bicycle, but running with the child. And so when he saw that finally completely they were ready to go on their own, he stopped and saw how the child was doing. And if the child was falling down, he was right there to help him to get up. And that was also his death. When he left, it was a sign that from him to say, I taught you how to do it. I gave you everything I knew. First I helped you in the full way, and helping you in a way that you found your balance and that you found your street, and now go ahead. You are ready to go on alone, and don't worry. I will be always here looking at you, and if you fall, I will be immediately there looking at you and helping you. But go on, go ahead. Thank you. One of the most favorite stories of Swamiji, what he very often told during Sunday services, was about 4 men. They found each other together. One was the son of a priest. And he said, His Excellency, when they met the father. The other man said, my son is a cardinal, and every time when he meets someone, they call him Your Eminence. Oh wow, that's still more than excellent. And the third man says, look, my son is the Pope, and every time when he meets people, everybody says, your sainthood, your saintliness. And my son is 2 meters and 10. He's close. And every time when they see him, they say, "Oh my God." The fourth one. That's a story which Swamiji very often told. Because behind his holiness, there was a great sense of joy and simplicity what he had. He was joyful, and one could feel his joy. When you were close to Swamiji, everything was happy and beautiful, being close to him, because he had this spirit of sharing all that what went through his heart. I remember a few years ago, I had a surgery, I was in the hospital. I had an infection, an intestinal infection, and the doctor told me, we were not able to take away everything. We will have to do another surgery. That was about 5-6 years ago. And in the afternoon, a nun came in the room, the hospital room, and brought a lot of flowers. She said, usually one brings flowers when somebody gets a child. I was there with other 3 people, and all were not feeling well. And she said, the nun said, who got a child here? There's a huge flower bouquet. Who is Paolo? And I see the note, and on the note is written, "Be well, heal very fast, because I cannot come to visit you, Swami Kriyananda." And this huge bouquet of flowers was there on my. Not only that, I healed very, very fast. He said normally you would need 1 week to 10 days that the effect of the anesthesia passes. After 2 days, Swamiji came. He said, "You have to walk until Friday," because he had an appointment with a company who was publishing music. It was a discographic house. And I said, "Swamiji, of course, I'm very happy to come with you." I didn't know how I will be able to accompany Swamiji. In the morning, Swamiji said, "Okay, we have the appointment at 3 o'clock." That was 2 days later. And I say, Swamiji, Master, you have to give me the strength, because I wasn't able to walk at that point. That afternoon, I felt much, much better. And Swamiji came, and we left the hospital, and we stopped in this place where these people were waiting. And the situation, it didn't go as we had expected that they would go. And then Swamiji, he was walking a little bit difficult, and on a certain point I said, "Swamiji, how are you doing?" He said, "Oh, nothing, everything is fine." At the end of the day, Swamiji couldn't walk anymore. The last part at the place, I took Swamiji directly in my arms, because he couldn't walk anymore. We went in the car and then brought him home. Swamiji didn't feel very well. He had his hips. I heard it. Because his hip joint came out, and so the hip, he had a lot of pain inside, and so he came back here. I went to the doctor this afternoon, and the doctor said it's not needed anymore that you have another surgery. Everything is well. Swami, on his body, he took my karma. I'm very sure about that. And he did it. I'm sure that he did it with many others. These things help to understand. He never said, if we went to Venice to walk, as before Ketani said, his body, his life was given completely to the Divine Mother. And when these things happen, these are blessings. We don't know how many transformations happened and still continue on to happen. To be in a place where his presence was every day, when we look at his eyes, and we are here to serve him. You know that I had a very particular experience with Swamiji. The 11th of September, when in America the big terrorist attack happened, with Swamiji, we were in Swamiji's house. And somebody called me, you have to look in the television. Something very terrible happened in America. With Swamiji, we opened the television. And he said, why do you want to see the television? And I told him there's something very, very terrible happened in America. We opened the television. And with Swamiji together and Anand, we looked at television. The first thing what was, Swamiji became completely silent and still. While we were with Anand and me, we were talking, oh, that's a disaster. And when the second plane went against the Twin Towers and everything broke down, Swamiji was silent. He had his eyes closed and he was praying for all those who were there. And he was praying for the whole world, because that touched many of us. At the end, when I closed the television, Swamiji said, it came the time, many people will find God. There very difficult times are coming, because so that everyone can come closer to a life dedicated to the divine. When one sees with these bad things what happened, it's a divine play, and Swamiji saw it as a divine play. He didn't give a lot of emphasis to that what happened, but within him, but one could. He saw the transformation of all mankind when this terrible things happen. One hand, people are suffering, and on the other hand, others grow. They are growing through difficult situations. That's for all of us. And awareness, security, safety. From this moment on, future became different. And that is with the help of great masters. A Sattvic place where people, and he knew the people there. We took the airplane, here from Perugia, the airplane, and we went to Malpensa, Milano, and from there we took a car to go up to Lugano. During that time, Swamiji didn't feel very well, but he wished to go up. I was sitting next to him in the airplane and going. The hostess came with some with some cookies while flying, and Swamiji. Swamiji knew he had a little high sugar levels, and he said, "No, I don't take cookies." And so I said no. Swamiji understood my thought. He took one cookie and he shared it half. He gave it's Italian. There were a lot of words. There was also in German language written a lot of things. Then he closed the eyes. My body is very heavy. I feel. In this moment came the question to me, Swamiji, what will we do without you? Because I had the feeling he wanted to go to the astral plane. And he said, don't worry about that. If you are attuned, I will always be with you and working through you. He's working through each one of us. If one is on the path for one day or since 20 years, it doesn't matter. The work he's doing, when we listen to him, he will work to us. If we don't listen to him, then of course he works a little bit less. But within, slowly his vibration and the vibration of our masters can act. They need our hands very often. He told me, Yoganandaji told me he will give me the strength to do this work, and the same thing is with all of you. You all will get the strength, and his strength continue on. Every day when we are attuning ourselves with the Guru, then we can feel him. We feel the attunement with this ray of divine ray of light. And that is then also with people around us. The world needs spiritual heroes, and it is the moment, especially to follow the examples of the masters, and especially that of Swamiji, to be a disciple. He gave the meaning, what does it mean to be a disciple? To take on the responsibility to transform ourselves. In that way we can transform others. Every day we have to work on that. His example was unique. I never followed others' path. I read the autobiography of a yogi, and a few days later I met Swamiji. I knew exactly that is my path. I followed Swami in many different things. If he was not here in India or in America, we often saw him leaving. We felt a little bit lonely. It was our mind which thought to be alone. He is always here. He is here as much as when he was living here. And so we have to be in attunement every day to get in connection with this line where he's drawing us to God. With this line, I bring you to the Master, to Yogananda, to the Masters. Swamiji is a great example for me, myself and for many of us who met him. He lives in each one of us today. We are celebrating not his death, but the resurrection in God. He wanted to live in God. And today we celebrate his life in God. And that is the greatest blessing which one can receive in this life. Thank you, Narya, Shurja, and Narayani. Now, don't go yet. Now it's something very beautiful which is happening. From the last thing which Swamiji did before he left, a very particular work, and I will ask Shurja to introduce it, because Shurja and Anand will chant this last song which Swamiji has given us. Thank you.
In 2003 for Easter,
Nel 2003 per Pasqua,
Swamiji wanted him and I to sing this particular song.
Swamiji voleva che lui e io cantassimo questo canto particolare.
Yeah, 2013, did I say 13?
Sorry.
Three?
Yeah, you said.
Wow. Okay, thank you.
2003, 13, scusa.
Ecco. And Swami wrote this song when we were in Mumbai, in the hotel in Mumbai, on the stationery of the hotel.
E Swamiji aveva scritto questo canto, le parole, quando eravamo in un hotel a Mumbai, sulla carta intestata dell'hotel.
And it's to the music of a particular opera.
Erano delle parole per un brano che fa parte di un'opera particolare.
By George Bizet.
Di Bizet.
And so when we were here in Italy, Swami said, okay, it's two men, it's a duet.
E poi quando dovevamo preparare questo canto, Swami ha detto è un duetto tra due voci maschili.
So he said, I'll do the bass part and you do the tenor part.
E ha detto io farò il basso e tu farai il tenore.
And so we sat and, he showed me the music and he said, okay, you got it, now sing.
E Swami mi ha mostrato la musica, ha detto ok, va bene, ce la fai, canta.
And I don't read music.
Ma io non leggo la musica, non so leggere la musica.
I know nothing about it.
Non so proprio niente di musica.
But Swami, for some reason, thought I did.
Ma per qualche motivo Swami pensava che io sapessi farlo.
So I said, Swami, I don't know how it goes.
E io gli ho detto, Swami, ma io non so com'è questo canto.
So Swami said, okay, I'll sing it for you.
E Swami ha detto, ok, lo canto per te.
So he sang it once.
E l'ha cantato una volta.
I said, okay, you ready?
E mi ha detto, ok, sei pronto?
I said, I can try. So we tried and it didn't work out.
E gli ho detto, vabbè, posso provarci. Abbiamo provato, ma non funzionava.
Anyway, and then Swami said, don't worry, we won't do it.
E Swami ha detto, ok, non ti preoccupare, non lo faremo.
We'll practice more and we'll do it the next time.
E praticheremo di più e lo faremo un'altra volta.
And then, of course, he decided not to do it with me.
E poi ha deciso di non farlo con me.
But then when we were celebrating Swami's passing, just a few days later,
Ma poi pochi giorni dopo, quando celebravamo il suo trapasso,
we just felt it would be nice if we can give it a try and offer the song to him.
ho sentito che sarebbe stato bello riprovare e offrirgli questo canto.
And so I asked Anand for his help.
E quindi ho chiesto l'aiuto di Anand
And for some particular reason, we figured it out.
e per qualche motivo, in qualche modo, siamo riusciti a venirne a capo.
And so now we'd like to offer the song to you and to him.
E adesso vorremmo offrire a voi e a Swamiji questa canzone.
Should I say the words just once? It's a very short song. We call it the Divine Mother song because Swami never gave it a name.
È un canto molto breve, noi lo chiamiamo il canto della Divina Madre, anche se Swami non gli ha mai dato un titolo.
And the words go,
E le parole sono queste.
yes, it's she,
Sì, è lei,
the Divine Mother,
la Divina Madre,
she the ruler, she who made
colei che ha creato
the universe.
l'universo.
Yes, it's she,
Sì, è lei,
the Divine Mother,
la Divina Madre,
ruler of every heart's desire.
che governa i desideri di ogni cuore.
Love more ancient,
Un amore più antico,
bliss eternal,
una beatitudine perfetta.
may our hearts
Possano i nostri cuori
soon be merged in thee.
immergersi presto in te.
ruler of every heart's desire, love more ancient, bliss eternal, may our hearts soon be merged in thee. Yes, she, the divine Mother, she who made the universe. Yes, she, the divine Mother, ruler of every heart's desire, love more ancient, bliss eternal, may our hearts soon be merged in thee. Love more ancient, bliss eternal, may our hearts soon be merged in thee.
Now we are at the point of a break. It's not that the second part is less inspiring, but now we have then the book launch from Narayani about Swamiji's life. It's also very beautiful to hear how Swamiji became again alive for all the people who were part of this book. Now we have a break until 12:20. 12:20. 20 minutes of break.
Far, Lord, far to find. Only he who knows he's far from home, only he, Lord, understands. Only He who knows danger. Sometimes a child laughed and I did pause and dreamed of joys at home. Joys, Lord, only a dream. For what joy is there without your smile? Empty like the ocean foam. For what joy is there without your smile? You're the sea, all else is foam. How long must I be a wanderer, Lord? You know where I belong. You know, Lord, yes, you know. Home is where my Lord's sweet presence is. I've grown tired of strangers' songs. Home is where my Lord's sweet presence is. Bless me that I hear your song. Rama, 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 Life flows on like a river that homes to the sea. 1 hour bounding through mountain vales, 1 hour winding through valley. None may linger on the way, none may coax time to stay. Fleeting scenes move by us like a dream. Cling not, none will be your own, lest you grieve to be alone. Go within you, there's your home. Life flows on like a river that homes to the sea. 1 hour bounding through mountain vales, 1 hour folks time to stay. Fleeting scenes move by us like a dream. Cling not, none will be your own, lest you grieve to be alone. Go within you, there's your home. Awake for morning in the bowl of night has flung the stone that puts the stars to flight. And lo, the hunter of the east has caught the Sultan's turret in a noose of light. Dreaming when dawn's left hand was in the sky, I heard a voice within the tavern cry, awake, my little ones, and fill the cup before life's liquor in its cup be dry. Moon of my delight, who knowest no wane, the moon of heaven is rising once again. How oft hereafter rising shall she look through this same garden after me in vain. Through many lines I've drunk the cup of laughter. No man could tell the pleasures I have known. The stars in the endless sky, if one could count, would come to billions. Yet as vast as are their numbers, so many years I've wandered far from you. Yet as vast as are their numbers, so many years I've wandered far from you. Through many lives I've drunk the cup of sorrow. No man could tell the bitter tears I've shed. The drops in the endless sea, if one could count, would come to billions. Yet as vast as are their numbers, so many years I've wandered far from you. Through countless lives I've sought your cup of sweetness, found other cups, yet thirsted evermore. The streams in the hills of time all found their way into a den. every noon of bright fulfillment, ere many hours did sink to evening gloom. Every noon of bright fulfillment, ere many hours did sink to evening gloom. I long for you in summer and in winter, only for you my heart thirsts day and night. I've learned that the sweetest songs ears ever heard were but your echo. Lord, at last, fill me completely, for nevermore I'd wander far from you. Lord, at last, fill me completely, for nevermore I'd wander far from you. Poor little girl walking in the cold, her clothing all tattered and thin. Spied a rich man standing outside a church, outside a church, outside a church. Spied a rich man standing outside a church, the service about to begin. Kind sir, she said, hear an orphan child. The cold winds of winter have come. I've no place to live, not in all the world. Oh, help me find work in some home. The rich man frowned, don't you hear that hymn? Good people have gathered in prayer. It's a day for worship, impious girl. Impious girl, oh impious girl. It's a day for worship, impious girl. Don't speak here of earthly affairs. He walked off and entered the holy church. The girl wandered down the cold street, and there all at once she beheld a small boy. No jacket, no shoes for his feet. His clothing was shabby, as worn as her own. He shivered against a closed door. Alas, he cried, none will take me in. Take me in, none will take me in. Alas, he cried, none will take me in. Though I'm starving and cold, for I'm poor. Seeing him, she cried, how I feel for you. It's bitter with no friends to live. Here, please take my shawl, it's all I can spare, though it's shameful so little to give. She wrapped him all up in a flimsy cloth and kissed his cold forehead and smiled. Suddenly a warmth like a summer breeze, like a summer breeze. Suddenly a warmth like a summer breeze encircled this poor girl and child. And a tender voice said, my daughter, I'm here. No more shall you weep without friends. For in yonder church there's no love like yours. Those with pure hearts, their needs I attend. My child, all men's sorrows would turn to joy if they knew that to share is no loss. For its kindness softens the human heart. Human heart, the human heart. For its kindness softens the human heart. I know, I who died on the cross. Worship means but love, and my love you've found by your gift to me here in the cold. And she saw their clothes were now woolen and warm, and the shawl was now spun of fine gold. Rama was a ruler's son long ago, long ago. Sita was his wife so fair, truly she his life did share, though much suffering she won long ago, long ago. Ramo Sita Ram. Rama's father banished him far from home, far from home. All alone the woods to roam, Sita gladly shared his doom. Thus his sorrow soon grew dim, far from home, far from home. Ramo Sita Ram. One day came an evil man, woe the hour, woe the hour. Stole Ram's wife while Ram was gone, carried her to his own home. Thus her soul's dark night began, woe the hour, woe the hour. Ramo Sita Ram. True was she, though sorely pressed, Rama's wife, Rama's wife. Long she spared the stranger's pleas, harsh she called his life of ease. Only tested love is blessed, Rama's wife, Rama's wife. Ramo Sita Ram. Ram at last did win her back. Sorrows fled, sorrows fled. Soon they to their palace went. Ended now Ram's banishment. Ended all their years of lack. Sorrows fled, sorrows fled. Ramo Sita Ram. But for Ram and Sita true, long ago. Oh, Signore mio altissimo. Oh, Signore mio altissimo. Oh, Signore mio altissimo, la mia vita dedico a te, le fatiche, gioia e dolor, il piacere e la melodia. Fammi mezzo della pace tua. Quando è buio, guidami dal ciel, dove offesa che io porti perdon, dove l'odio che io porti l'amor. Lord Most High, our Heavenly Father, all our lives we dedicate to Thee. All our labors, all our joys and woes, all our pleasure, all our melody. Make us each a channel of thy peace. When in darkness, guide us from above. Where there's sorrow, may we sow thy joy. Where there's hatred, may we share thy love. O Signore mio altissimo, la mia vita dedico a te, le fatiche, gioia e dolore, il piacere e la melodia. Fammi mezzo della pace tua. Quando è buio, guidami dal ciel, dove offesa che io porti perdon, dove l'odio che io porti l'amor.
How we heard, there are many ways Swamiji continues on to live through many different people and many whom we don't even know yet. And in this moment we will hear the inspiration, how it came, how this book which speaks about Swamiji really from the heart. Nandini, who is part of Ananda Edizione, they lived a transformation through this process. And that what Narayani and Chucho have. And then I will ask now for Nandini to speak about her part of the book. Those who don't know, she is the guide and the director of Ananda Edizione. She brought out all the books of Swamiji. Good morning, everyone. It's a deep joy from the heart in this moment a day to feel Swamiji's presence, to present this beautiful book, My Heart Remembers. A special thank you to Narayani that she has given us this spiritual treasure, this jewel, and I give thanks to all the people with a lot of heart and enthusiasm have worked on this book. That is really a lot of love who has made it possible to bring this book out. And really in this beautiful adventure, editorial adventure, to present this book. This is a very powerful book and you will feel it. And it emanates a very beautiful vibration. In every page is his great divine friendship, his love, his joy, his enthusiasm. All that is in that book. That is like to have a satsang with Swamiji. It has a spiritual power. Those who have met Swamiji, to live beautiful moments, very special moments with Swamiji. It's not a little blessing. And to live so closely with Swamiji, to have this opportunity to be in connection with his consciousness, only reading this booklet, to live these sacred moments, to live next to him. For those who didn't know him, it's a very powerful channel because it shows how Swamiji, how he truly was. He was a divine friend. He was like a king. He was a saint. He was a spiritual master. He was a perfect disciple. Also for those who didn't meet him personally, you will get to know him. And you will all love to read this book. You will cry, have tears in your eyes. It will touch your hearts because this beautiful humorous aspect. Today I want to speak about a very little aspect. This book is a gift of love and a symbol of attunement and extraordinary attunement. A book which speaks about devotion and the devotion to God. And Narayani, she was beautiful. She truly channeled this book. She met Swamiji when she was 24 years old. And she knew him as his spiritual guide and his king. And Swamiji recognized her as a daughter. She knew only a few words in English, but she followed him to attune her consciousness with him. She didn't understand all the words, but she was listening to the consciousness beyond the words. And that allowed her to develop this intuition, extraordinary intuition and attunement with Swamiji, which went beyond. And Swamiji, when Swamiji asked her to become his personal assistant, she was ready for it. because she intuitively knew where Swamiji wanted to get her. And in a very important, that was the last part of his life, and where she was close to him. Swamiji was very little in his physical body. He was way beyond. He was always with his with Master. And so there was a very high spiritual energy. And Narayani was very good to to hold up this high level of energy and consciousness, and to accompany Swamiji in his last period of his life. When Swamiji asked Narayani to write this book, a few weeks before he left his body, Narayani, she never thought about writing a book. She especially not a book in English. But then she felt, I will write this book. It was really she was able to go beyond. Maybe I don't know English, maybe I don't know how to write, but that is a beautiful example of discipleship, of devotion, attunement with the Master. That is the relationship of disciple and Master. And she had this attunement. In this book is a lot Swamiji. And I will say also how it manifests. I was close to Swamiji, and a lot of his books we have realized a lot of great events with Swamiji. In 2005, with the autobiography of a yogi in Italian and many others, the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. In 2010 was the autobiography of a yogi and conversations with Yogananda. Every time when Swamiji wrote a book, there was an incredible power behind it. A wave of love, a wave of divine power, which manifested in many different things, and it allowed that many things could manifest. Maybe we were not so good, but this wave came, and it carried us along. With this book, I could feel this wave, this power. In the first moment, when she asked, could we hear God? He is now with God. And his thought continues on for us, that we find God. That book is like a magnet who will bring many on the path to get to know Swamiji. It's really about him. Remember always his words. Let's open up to the divine, to attract all that what we do to Swamiji. Now, one of Swamiji's life, he had a lot of need to change his clothes for many normal things, because also his balance sometimes was not good. So he needed always someone close to him. And one thing what I was doing too, every 3 weeks I had to do the beard, to cut the beard of Swamiji, to put it. And one of these mornings here at his house in Assisi, I was there with the little, with the machine, and I was cutting the beard, and I was cutting his beard. And I was with my thoughts all over the place. But at the meantime, I was always working. At a certain point, Swamiji, he holds my hand, The eraser still was moving. And very seriously he said, Narayani, will you write a book about me? And I said, Swamiji, Swamiji, don't you hear my English? I will never be able to write a book about it. You know that I don't speak well. He looks at me. He didn't listen to anything. Maybe he saw a mouth, but he didn't hear my words. And his response was, will it be a biography or will it be about my life? I understood that he was having a request. And with this energy, I said to Swamiji, if you want to, in that way, I think a book on my memory on you, maybe I will be able to do. I think I will be able to do. But then I said, but Swamiji, can you hear my English? And Swamiji said, don't worry about that. I will help you. Don't worry. 3 weeks later, he left his body. He didn't tell me how, when, how he will help me, to whom he will help me. He didn't tell me anything. He said only, I will help you. That the only words. And I was holding on these words and waiting when his help will come to do it. It took 4 years for me to get to a point where I was ready to write about him. Because I found every time when I was thinking of him, or when I was thinking about the different situations, there was always a feeling of nostalgia and that I was missing him, and I started to cry, and I knew that I wasn't yet ready for it to write that book. And then I was asking myself, I have to find a moment where I can think of Swamiji and to be free in my heart. And it was that center. And from there I could then write a book about Swamiji. When we decided with Shusha to take 1 year of seclusion, and one of the motifs was to digest all that what had happened, what was happening in our life, but always to have time and to have physical space and psychic space where we could focus a little bit more and to begin to write. I was feeling nearly ready for this next step. We started the seclusion. And I could feel inside me, I wasn't yet ready. There was still that nostalgia, that missing Swamiji. And one morning in the meditation, I asked Swamiji, Swami, you have to help me now. I cannot do it anymore. You know that I have still that nostalgia in my heart. And you have to help me to write this book. You self have to take over. I don't know how to do it. I'm not yet ready. While in meditation, I will not get up until he comes and takes care of that blockage in the heart. I was 2 hours, 3 hours. All of a sudden, I could feel like a wave. I could feel it was Swamiji's presence, like a deep wave. And it stopped in the heart, stayed in the heart, and immediately afterwards, it was like it went away. I couldn't believe. I was saying, what is happening? I could feel such a freedom in the heart that was like emptiness in the heart, but it got filled with so much joy. When I finished that meditation, I felt, now I'm ready to write a book. And the day afterwards, I told Sahaja, I'm ready. Be ready, because when I finish, you have to help me and to edit the book. And so I started to write. I had written different stories before, of not to forget it at different moments, then all the energy and all my dedication. And it was incredible. There came all the stories I never had written down anywhere. And it was so, from where does all this memory come back? And came, because he himself was guiding the whole process. This story you have to tell. That story, the whole moment was like that. I'm deeply touched because I don't believe that this book came out like this. That is not my book. I didn't write it. And I feel like that. All the information, everything, I was simply there writing. It was in a deep healing, writing this book. I know that he had different levels, that his request of writing this book, one of these levels was to heal for me, and to begin to commune with him in a different way. Not anymore. That doesn't work anymore. Simply think, simply like when he was there. And I was down there and he was up there. He made it very clear, you have to come up there to him. And this book was the process to bring my consciousness up there on that level. For me now it's a blessing, but also an adventure with this new way to experience how I can continue on to serve Swamiji at that level. And also to commune with him, to hear his voice, to feel his voice. He is right there. We have to get up there. And each one of us, where you think, but I didn't know him so well. I came afterwards. He knows that you were coming. And he knows that you are ready to get there where he is now. It's the same as when he was here in the curb. Everything is perfect in that way. Everything is right. One of the stories which touched me deeply when I wrote that book, one is very specific. Wow. And I want always to listen in that way. There's one story in the book where he, nearly at the end, one morning, we were together, and he was looking at the sunset. On a certain point, he tells me, there was no conversation. All of a sudden, he told me, Narayani, promise me something. And I said, to promise? Oh, what shall I promise now? Yes, Swamiji, tell me, promise me that never, that you allow anyone, that anyone takes your enthusiasm or your spirit away. I knew that this promise was a little bit too big at that moment. And the only thing what I could say is, Swamiji, I will give my best. I will try. I will not allow anyone to take away my enthusiasm and the spirit. He looked at me straight. Okay. really seriously. That was the story. I wrote a story in the book. When the book was completely ready, finished, I sent also to Tejendra. One morning, in meditation, an image and the voice comes. There's a story in the book which you didn't tell well. That was in the meditation. And then this story came when Swamiji asked me, and the voice tells me, go to the computer and try. I open the computer and I read that story. It happened like that. And that is how Swamiji told me that. But that thought was still there. In the evening when I was meditating, the same. You didn't tell the story correctly. I go again and read everything. No, it's everything. I read every word, but it was like that it happened. The next day, in the meditation, that image comes to me very clearly. When Swamiji told me that, and I said, Swamiji, I will try. And Swamiji answered, good. As I had written it, and it was good with an exclamation mark at the end of the word. The vibration changed from the exclamation mark, changed the vibration of it. Also, his answer was not so light. This exclamation mark changed the meaning of what Swamiji wanted me to understand. So I was at the computer, I looked, and I saw the exclamation mark where he was, his husband, and I took it away. After that, there was then quiet and everything fine. I called the gender, can you please go to this page, to this site? And it was just at the last moment. But so, it was so precise. Swamiji was in, to be sure that I was sharing, that I was sharing how he wanted me to share the story. All the book happened like that. For me, it was a process of listening with a finitude which was incredible. That for me was a very big lesson. This way of listening and how I have to hear with this sensitivity to each person, each situation, to understand really what does he tell me, what does he want, and how he tells it to me. Now we don't have too much time. I want to finish one little story of the book. Another episode which touched me very deeply. At the end, Swamiji wrote a book on the biography of Yogananda. And every morning we were in America. I went to his apartment and I was sitting there and helping him to get ready for the day. He wrote this book, the biography of Yogananda, in 3 weeks. And in these 3 weeks, one morning, I go to his apartment in America. In that moment that I enter into the apartment, I feel a different energy. Here something happened this night. I go inside the apartment, I look around, I go to his room, and I find Swamiji laying on the bed, looking upward to the roof, with eyes like laser beams. He was like that. I go close to him. Swamiji, are you well? Did happen something? He had his skin, everything was brilliant and shining, and he looks at me with his eyes and he says, will you go to my computer, because yesterday I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and he wrote down on the computer, can you go there and read and tell me what you think about it? His energy was that there was an incredible aura and power around him. I go to the computer and I read Kriya Yoga. And he wrote about a chapter on Kriya Yoga after 15-20 minutes. Incredible, beautiful things, what I never had read in other books. Wow. I finish, and when I go back, Swamiji looks at me and says, did you like it? And I said, Swamiji, this chapter is, I never read some things on Kriya as you have written. What did I write? Swamiji that about Kriya and things. And he says, you know, I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning with an inspiration where each word was given to me. Everything I do, I know, is coming from the consciousness of the Guru. But last night, it was the Guru himself who was writing the book, that chapter. He didn't do big things or proclamations. And that is how Swamiji realized Master. And at the end, that what happened, Swamiji went away and he allowed Master to do everything. This book, remember a lot of these stories, also much, much more. Also his human side comes out from Swami Kriyananda. And so many different stories. My wish is truly for each one of you that this book touches your heart in the same way as it touched my heart. And I think that he, Swamiji, will find a way to work with each one of us. Good afternoon. My name is Chandra. I am also from another edition, and I want to tell how this book came. With Narayani, it happened in a different way than with other books. The design of materialization. The first time that I heard, that I read this book, Narayani sent it on the phone. And I was about to take the flight to America, and I was reading it on the flight. I cried. Two things happened. First of all, First of all, I recognized how much I was missing Swamiji, because it was really like to be with Swamiji. A book which you can read very slowly. You don't want it that it finishes. That is the first. The second part that I didn't understand before, how much Narayani was connected with Swamiji, because many of us have known Swamiji for a much longer period of time. My watch was maybe in the same year, but surely not the same second. I was quite far away. And since years that I worked with Swamiji, with his books, we often had fights. And nearly every year I was looking forward to have a fight with Swamiji, because he was very hard. And I come from a very professional world, where we think to understand the world, the market wants this, the people wants that. I understand. Swamiji said, no, you don't understand anything. Very often I had to make 20 first pages, and then sometimes he said, you have to do everything again. That the test has to be in the center, not on the left or not on the right. You have to do again the whole first page, front page. That was all to teach me things which I wasn't ready yet to hear. And so I was fighting and having... and it was like, Swamiji, I don't do that the fifth time. Oh, no problem. I will find someone else who will do it. And I know Swamiji. And so it was... I never would have been able to do this book, because we have all other ideas how a book should be presented. How it should be presented externally. I am here. I said always, Swamiji, Swamiji, we have to sell the books, not your picture. In India, with a picture you can sell, but not here in the West. Here we are in a Christian country, a Catholic country. And my mind always said marketing, what is right for marketing? And so my head was full of marketing. With this book, it's completely different. Because at the very beginning I understood. I had another idea what it means to be with Swamiji. It's something very intimate. I would have put a lot of different things. Swamiji in a big group of people with a lot of happy people. I never experienced Swamiji in that way. In that meaning, Narayani was advantaged. She didn't know the language. She had to understand from the intuitive level. I always got lost with words, but she was simply there listening, even not knowing the language, but she was understanding, listening differently. And so, with this book, instead of 50 kilometers an hour, it's 5 kilometers in 1 hour. This picture we found at the end when Narayani, when she let me search for. She wanted to really feel. I wasn't asking my heart. I think that is something where we find ourselves on a crossroad in the professional world. Till where can we get with our intellect, and when we can listen only with our heart? because a book like that, I never would have presented like this. This book doesn't want to sell, but it wants to change lives. That was not in my in my mind. That wasn't yet there. Now, finally, also through this book, my life is much more refined. It's to change lives, not to sell, not to convince others, but to change lives. Many of these pictures we put there, and Shushu, Narayani, and myself, we were there for 3 seconds. Okay. This one. This is the greatness. I remember one time there was one picture with Yogananda very small. But nothing went well with that picture of Master. Shushu on a certain point said, if we put Yogananda a little bit bigger at the beginning of the chapter, all the rest of the book will flow, and it was flowing very rapidly. Small things like that you can understand only if you slow down, that you can listen, as she said. To listen the heart, to listen, how does the heart feel? No, not my experience this and my experience that. How every word, every page, feeling it with the heart. Now I don't have Swamiji anymore to have fights. For me that was like a new school, to be next to Narayani, to see it page by page. That came in on light, not with my help. And it was a great blessing and a great joy. And I hope everybody will love that. My name is Sahaja, and as many of you know, since 2001 I was doing the translations of Swamiji, inclusive this one. And I have to say that was the most difficult book to translate, not because the language is difficult, but I started to cry at the moment that Narayani sent it to me, and I started to read it. I was crying. When I was translating, I was crying. When I went to the layout, every picture, my heart was opening up and crying. Till today, I said, I don't hold it in my hands, because if not, I understood. There are many kinds of tears in our eyes. Reading this book had been, the first tears were of nostalgia, missing Swamiji, and the way that Swamiji was, Narayani was guided by Swamiji. That is like Swamiji again, to be again with Swamiji, and this tears of a deep, beautiful friendship, what Swamiji has shared, not only with me, but with everyone. But also this nostalgia of time, how Swamiji helped us to feel. It was always much more as I was able to feel myself. Swamiji never would have expected 1 week or 1 month when the book was already ready. He had 10 times to repeat, you can do more, you can be more. And so my heart was crying with nostalgia of this presence in my love, which he encouraged me to be always more. If the soul is able to cry, the tears of the soul, that was when I was able to see not what Narayani has done of her life being close to Swamiji, and how Swamiji has worked with her. That was like a gym of holiness. And so, for many different situations, two souls which together we walk together toward God, and together we go a very deep aspect, which is discipleship. Swamiji with Master Narayani with Master through Swamiji, and also these were tears of, still deeper tears of a memory of my soul, the soul of each one of us, what it means to get to the stage, to say completely, where we step aside. As Narayani said, she stepped aside and allowed it that Swamiji could flow completely freely, not saying, "Oh, I'm not able, I'm no one." And when you step aside, and the divine can flow through you, and you will feel it again. She really renounced her life. This renouncing that life, the second kind of tears was that also I want to be like that. I want for each one, for myself and for everyone, this way of being complete. And these tears are maybe, and then there were also tears of the ego who was crying. In some moments, very desperate. I wasn't at the height. I could have done more. I could have been much more. Swamiji asked us. He asked us levels of consciousness. He knew that we could be there, but how often did we say, "I'm not able to. I cannot do it. I have so many different things, emotions, and different things, likes and dislikes," and I resisted. And that was also a great gift of this book, to understand nothing is lost. Swamiji continues on. Our gurus are always with us, and that what in certain moments in our devotion and our life, because we were not able, maybe we were not yet ready, we always can do it. We always can get better. Swamiji is still alive, not in his physical body, but within every one of us. We have chosen him as our guide, and we always can do better, and we can do more with his love, in his love, which is living in each part of ourselves. And I think to Narayani and Swamiji. And Sahaja, also I could feel the same. Also I felt I cannot do it anymore. I'm not at that height. And too many people, Swamiji very often said, and it is like that. As Sahaja said, we always can do everything. Also, I start to cry because this day is the day where we had to launch the book. Swamiji is here, and we can do everything. As Narayani has done, we can do the impossible, what we never thought to be able to do. This grace, this life, everything is possible in this life, and that is the meaning of this day and the launch of this book. And now I want to bring Narayani, Sahaja, Ticindra, all from Ananda Edizione, because we symbolically we want to offer this book to Swamiji. Like a ceremony, in a meaning of offering ourselves to this guide, which is present in every moment. Sometimes we don't feel it because it's important is to open up. Now, symbolically, we offer these books to you as who are our spiritual guides, and to bring His love and His blessings to many more souls. And to think, we have now to thank all of them, because without this team it wouldn't have been possible to have this book, and for your continuous work and service, not only for Swamiji, but so many. Maybe we can chant Om for the team. Now a prayer to end. You can stand or sit, whatever you feel. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, Great Masters, beloved Swamiji, we are deeply grateful for your presence within each one of us. Beloved Swamiji, guide us all, that we may follow your example of discipleship, a life dedicated to God, so that we may all of us manifest within our lives our highest self, and that may we all achieve perfection in our oneness in God. Thank you, and to guide us to in this life, and for all that what you are doing to help us. Om Shanti. After lunch, there's a little bit of time, and you can get a book, and Narayani can also sign your book. Also afterwards, after lunch, she will be there to sign the books and to give it. And I wish everyone a happy lunch at 3 o'clock, from 3 to 4 o'clock. There's another very special moment to see that Swamiji, the message what he gave 5 years ago at Easter. That was 1 week before he left the body. And there will be a moment where we can listen Swamiji in Sahaja in Italian language. And for some of our Gurubais, how they felt this moment. This moment, we will live this moment again, and this evening will be and this evening is then, I think, the vows of the Swami order.
Through many lives, I drank the cup of laughter. No man could tell the pleasures I have known. The stars in the endless sky, if one could count, would come to billions. Yet as vast as are their numbers, so many years I've wandered far from you. Yet as vast as are their numbers, so many years I've wandered far from you. Through many lives, I've drunk the cup of sorrow. No man could tell the bitter tears I've shed.
The book is also available in English.
The drops in the endless sea. If one could count, would come to billions. Yet as vast as are their numbers, so many years I've walked.